Hi, I'm Dr. Vishal and welcome back. In this video, I'll explore 9 powerful mental models or thinking tools that can give you an edge in decision making, strategy, and life. So if you're someone who wants to think smarter, make better decisions, or even outperform the most gifted minds in this world, stick around. There is a myth we all have been sold that success belongs to the most smartest person in the room. But what if that's not true? Success isn't about being smarter than others, it's about outpositioning them. History's greatest minds, let's say from Chanakya to Albert Einstein to Jeff Bezos, didn't really rely on only intelligence, they relied on something else, a toolkit to mental models. Let's start with a map. In the early 2000s, Blockbuster, a brand that revolutionized home entertainment industry, was worth $5 billion. They had the perfect map of what the business should look like: late fees, DVDs, walk-in stores, and much more. While they were navigating on an old map, Netflix redo their territory in online streaming services. Blockbuster failed adequately to adapt to the consumer preferences of digital media and streaming services. By 2010, Blockbuster was bankrupt and Netflix, it was worth billions. This is exactly what Alfred Korzybski meant when he said a map is not a territory. We all carry mental models, assumptions about how this world works, but in business, ignoring this model can be fatal. Neuroscientists call this cognitive entrenchment, the brain's tendency to cling to familiar models even when reality changes. So here's the shift. Stop asking, am I working hard enough? And start asking, is the map I'm using even valid anymore? The circle of competence. Warren Buffett built a $700 billion empire by staying inside one thing, that is a circle of competence. Warren Buffett says that it doesn't matter how big the circle is, knowing its boundaries does. When Warren Buffett avoided tech investments, people called him old-fashioned. But in fact, he understood that by going out of his circle is not only risky, it's reckless. You don't need to know everything, just know where you are unbeatable. Narrow the game and master the zone. That's how Serena Williams, Steve Jobs, anyone one of the most successful YouTubers win. They just go deep and not just wide. Think about it. First principles thinking. In 2002, Elon Musk looked at the cost of building a rocket and it turns out it cost $65 million each. But instead of accepting it, he broke it down into basics. What are the parts required and what does it cost in an open market? Raw materials like aluminium, titanium, carbon fiber, and it turns out it just costs 2% of the final price, and that's the first principles thinking, breaking things down to its fundamental truths. Aristotle used it, Da Vinci used it, Elon Musk just modernized it and built SpaceX from scratch. So whether you are building a business, changing your career, or just coming out of a rut, ask yourself these questions. What's really true here? What assumptions am I blindly following? SpaceX made orbital launches 10x cheaper with this principle. The next one is thought experiments. When Steve Jobs envisioned iPhone for the first time, he didn't directly start with its specifications कि ऐसी screen होनी चाहिए, यहाँ buttons होने चाहिए. In fact, he asked, what if you could carry a computer into your pocket without a keyboard? And that thought experiment redefined how we communicate today. You can do this too. Ask yourself this question. What would a future me would regret not doing it today? Or what happens if I scale this action over 5 years? Your brain is the most powerful simulating engine in existence. Use it daily. The next one is second order thinking. In 2008, Airbnb founders asked what happens when cities run out of hotel rooms during big events. That's the second order thinking. Looking not at the obvious but the ripple effects. They saw an opportunity when others saw inconvenience. Today, Airbnb is a $70 billion company. Howard Marks puts it this way. First level thinking says, this is a good company, let's buy it. But second level thinking says, everyone thinks it's good, so it's overpriced. So ask, if I do this, what happens next? And then after that, and then after that. When everybody stops at step 1, you go 2 levels deeper. That's where your edge lives. Think about it. The next one is probabilistic thinking. Let's say there are 2 doctors. The first doctor says that you definitely have a disease, and the second one says that there is a 12% chance that you may have a disease. You will definitely trust and believe the second doctor because he is talking in probabilities and not certainties. Jeff Bezos always says that you may be wrong 90% of the times and still win if you bet big when the odds are in your favor. A Nobel-winning study by Daniel Kahneman found that people trained in base rate probability made 40% better decisions in volatile environments. So start asking what are the odds and is it going to give me 10x return guaranteed if I'm right, and go for it. The next one is the Inversion mental model. If you want to be successful, don't just ask what to do, ask what to avoid. That's Inversion. thinking backwards. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's right-hand man, always said that all I want to know is where I'm going to die so that I'll never go there. Sounds dark, but it's so practical. When NASA wanted to build safer aircrafts, they didn't just study about the missions that were successful, but even studied the ones that failed. This inverted lens saved many lives. And it's the same with business. If you want to run a successful business, avoid bad hires, unclear goals, financial leaks, and there you go, you are on the right track. A study in MIT Sloan showed that eliminating known failure points improved business outcomes by 28%. So avoid stupidity first and let success follow. The next one is Occam's razor. Imagine you waking up with a sore throat and then you start thinking whether it's just a common cold or a rare Himalayan virus found only in cave ants. Probably it's just a common cold that you will get over it over time, because simplest explanation is often the best, and that's Occam's razor, used by scientists, surgeons, and strategists alike. There was a study in Nature Reviews Neuroscience that showed that experts who favored simpler hypotheses were more accurate in diagnosing rare diseases because they didn't overcomplicate the problem. It's not anti-creativity, it's just anti-noise. So next time when you are in a situation where you have to take big decisions, ask yourself these two questions. What is the cleanest and the sharpest explanation? And am I adding unnecessary assumptions and making my problems bigger? Start with the simplest explanation and break it down further. Simple doesn't mean shallow, it means sharper. The last but not the least, Eisenhower Matrix. Dwight Eisenhower led World War II operations, ran NATO, and became the US president. His secret? A simple decision-making matrix, the Eisenhower Matrix. He divided all his tasks into 4 categories, into 4 quadrants. In the first quadrant, he used to categorize all those tasks which were important, that to be done right now, right away. Second quadrant were all those tasks which he knew were going to give him returns in the long-term run, and you have to work on it on a daily basis. Third quadrant were all those tasks which were important but need not to be done by yourself, so you used to keep all those tasks that need to be delegated. And in the fourth quadrant, there were all those tasks which you have to eliminate it, you need not do it. That's how he handled chaos without burning out. Today, billionaires like Naval Ravikant also uses this method, and he says that if you don't prioritize your life well, someone else will. There was a study in Harvard Business Review report found that using Eisenhower's matrix increases time effectiveness by 23% in managers and leaders. So don't just be busy, be deliberate. At the end, I just want you to remember that you can outperform anyone if you can outthink them. Not with more efforts, but with better judgment. If this video helped reshape how you think, please consider subscribing, liking it, or maybe sharing it to somebody who may be benefited by it. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, take care.